everybody? It's your man Bishop Bang, and welcome to another episode of It's Whatever with the Bishop. Magic Moments with the Mosleys present. I got my co-host, Funny Man Jeff.
Yep.
And we in the building. We have a special guest today, Miss Rosanne G. That's Mama G.
Mama G in the building.
And I'll let you tell a little bit who you are. And it is Mental
Health Awareness
Month.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we was waiting for you to get here.
Waiting.
Yes.
Well, you talked me into it, Brent.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And this is a good time for me to talk.
Yeah, because then you can tell them who you are.
Who I am.
And a little bit about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And she has children I went to school with.
Yeah.
Yes. I told my daughter that you had done a major life reversal.
Yes.
And I just left it at that. And but thank you for inviting me.
Yes, you look radiant over there.
Thank you. I have on makeup. You don't usually see me in makeup,
Oh,
so
okay.
yes, I have on makeup. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I'm a therapist, a psychotherapist.
Yes.
Have a private practice called Imago Life Counseling.
Yes.
And I've had it. This is actually my 11th year. I didn't even realize it until
okay.
I was thinking
Congrats.
of what to say to you.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
I started it part-time. I was a school counselor in high school and elementary school in the area for probably more. I decided I wasn't going to tell y'all how many years because it dates me. But let's just say more than 20.
Okay.
I've been in So, and you know, this is a great time to be a counselor because I like talking about these things. I've always wanted to talk about these things.
Right.
And it's just now fashionable. You know, it used to be the people looking at you like, why? You know,
Right.
let's just
Right.
talk about something else. But
Right.
now, especially with your generation, I think the tide has changed and people are more open and willing to talk about things that have
Right.
really impacted their life, you know. So
You're taking it serious now.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
because too, social media exposes it.
social media exposes it, and I think that, you know, your generation came up with school counselors talking about how do you feel.
Right.
You know, they did not ask my generation how we felt.
Okay.
It didn't
Yeah.
matter.
Okay.
Children were to be seen and not heard.
Okay.
So you just stayed in the background. But now, you know, when I was a counselor, we would ask children starting in kindergarten, you know, how do you feel about this? And these are different feelings, and you can identify them, and you can talk about them, and kind of took away some of the shame of, you know, maybe feeling depressed or alone or angry or anxious or something like that. So this is a really good time to be having this discussion.
Yeah, because nowadays people aren't making you feel like you're quote unquote crazy for getting
Exactly.
therapy.
Yeah.
Because it's so much deeper than being crazy.
Yeah.
And then I realized too, crazy is like, that's like an insult to somebody too who's definitely going through some trauma or
Right.
going through some hard times in their life that they're trying to speak on it. So are you familiar with Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, he wrote a book about
Did you
anxiety.
read it?
No, I didn't. I need to, but
About
it's this guy.
anxiety?
Yeah, about anxiety, PTSD, and all that good stuff. And it's guys like him who have a little bit of fame and a little bit of clout,
Sure.
who also make people, you know, more willing to talk about it and expose it. And
Sure,
we can all
sure.
heal together. So.
And you know, the thing about it is, we used to think about mental health or people with mental health issues as being the extremes.
Right.
You know, the people that are like schizophrenic or, you know, having that total breakdown.
Right.
But, you know, all of us, this is a hard world to live in, I think. You know,
Yeah.
we've all been dealing with stress, and we all come from dysfunctional families. I mean, there's nobody that doesn't come from a dysfunctional family in some way or other.
Right.
And, you know, we have stress that's been passed to us generationally, you know, because just being slaves, there's a woman, a professor who talks about post-traumatic
That's
slave disorder.
Right.
You know, and it's like, because imagine the stress of that on a people, you know, and it has definitely been passed down. It's affected how we coped with things. You know, you talk about stress. We were starting to talk about stress, and think about being a little black. Well, you guys know, being a black boy at this point.
Right.
Unbelievable. You know, the stress that you live in every day, just trying to go about, you know, your daily, and that's just the normal stress,
Right.
Unfortunately. That's not even the exceptional thing. So, yeah. So I'm glad that Charlemagne and many other people are starting to speak out, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely important. I tried not to. Think about it. You kind of say like I have to move without. I know that the odds are against me, so I try not to think about it. I try to put myself as an equal. You know, just because if I worry about it and I look and I see, because don't get me wrong, when I see the police, I do like, even though I'm legit, I still be like, because it's
Even
just
people,
like,
even people who don't have anything to hide still get
so
nervous.
like, because it's like, okay, how could this go? Especially if it's at night. So you're just trying to be, you know, I feel we have.
And to just think that, ever since, so you're the age of Cam, my oldest son.
Yeah.
And I remember when he was little, I was reading books on, the black male and how to help your self-esteem be good in this day and age. And, to think that I think it's actually almost worse now.
Oh, yeah.
From when y'all were little, that your whole generation has come up with the awareness of how you're viewed, how you're looked at, how you're treated, and that's just in addition to all the other things that...
A quick question. Do you think that social media has made it worse?
I was just going to...
In some ways, yes, because I think social media distorts our perceptions, or at least enhances them, or whatever, magnifies them.
Right.
I used to not understand why people would say, I'm going to get off social media, but I didn't realize how much they were on it.
It's like a matrix,
and if you're on it a lot, it's really coloring your perceptions. So, are you in your 30s as well?
Yes, I'm 32.
So, it is hard to be in your 30s. That's what I've learned being a therapist, because you guys are so stressed. I mean, by 30s, you think you should have achieved certain things.
That played a role in my anxiety and things of that nature.
Really?
Yes. My depression, I should say depression.
Sure.
In my depression, yes. Because I spent 6 years in college, started having kids, and I'm like a semester short of my degree. Now it's like, go back and finish. Anybody can say go back and finish, but then it's like, I'm already in debt. I'm already working full time. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I know I can do it. I know I can, but then it's like double dutch. Well, where am I going to fit in?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Because I done already messed up for 6 years. Like, I don't want to tack this back on, and then boom, I mess up again.
So I just want to point out, you just named a lot of accomplishments, but the way you described them, you said I already messed up.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You have 6 years of education under your belt.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just didn't finish it.
Right.
And
I walked. I gave my mom and dad the cap and gown experience. So
good.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're gonna
finish. Yeah.
But it might not be on the timetable that you have in your mind, because you're doing so much right now. That's another thing about being in your 30s. You guys do so, and so did I. I used to work 2 jobs, like 17 years.
Yeah.
Did all my kids' sports. Was married and all those things. And had businesses all at the same time. We try to do so much, but I think in your 30s there's still this feeling that you can do everything. You know what I mean? Whereas I think by the time you get to my age, you're like, maybe not all at the same time. I can do it, but yeah, and I'll get back to some things. So.
Yeah, I'm grateful for you. I think like this season that I'm in my life, I needed her. Because I trained her, and I look forward to that, because it's healthy for me.
Yeah.
I don't dump too much, but like I get to talk to someone.
It's good stuff. I think we bless each other. I do, because you're a
exchange,
very wise young man, and you've learned a lot from your experiences.
Yes.
I don't listen to anybody. I really don't, because I just
she
don't
told me.
have time. I don't. But if you make sense, I like wisdom. And I'm proud of you. And you're part of my mental wellness.
Yeah.
When I was turning 65 last year.
Yes.
Brent was my treat to myself. I said, you know what? If I'm gonna be 65, I might as well go ahead and be healthy.
Right.
And Brent has me doing things I wouldn't have thought I could do. So and he's talking to me and just giving me. So you're part of my mental wellness team.
I appreciate it.
Look at it, full circle.
I know. This guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does. I was like, man, it's like I look forward to it, and it's just, especially the conversation that the conversation, and I look at it that for me. Because she's a scholar, I'd say.
As are you, sir.
Yes, but I don't have that there. But I do put and being able to engage in the conversations that we have. I'm thankful for that. It's a sense of direction, because I feel at my age, I see a lot of people that their conversations just ain't about nothing. Sure. It's always a time to joke. It's a time to be serious, and I think a lot of people joke, and some of the stuff that comes out of people's mouths is to hide
pain.
Sure.
What's going on. So I look at it like, I don't try to read too much in it, but I always find myself, because I'll be like, there's something there, and I'll be like, why is it even my concern? But the people that come to me, I feel like we have to be a certain place mentally, physically, and spiritually,
emotionally, all that.
We have to be a certain place. So I look at it that what I do, and then she comes in, and she was like, I'm gonna be here for her birthday. She was supposed to be for a while.
Yeah,
She's still there.
yeah, it's fun.
Becomes a lifestyle, as they say.
It does, and then you can, you start doing a little bit better and seeing your progress, and that's encouraging. And
so I know it's hard for you. I know it's hard, and because you're taking a lot in.
Well, we do.
Yeah. So how do you, as far as what you want to give away? Because I know some people don't give away exactly what it is that they do to bring them to a place. But like, when you have people come to you and they're pouring so much, like, how do you? I mean, we talk about this, but I would like you to share.
Well, anything that you're around, you're going to absorb some of it. Right. You know what I mean? And my role as a therapist is to really sit with people in difficult spaces and really to hold the space. I don't heal anybody. That's God's job. Right. But I can facilitate the conversation, and I can normalize some things and help people deal with shame and guilt and fear and all that. So that they can, get out of the destructive mode and get into, okay, what can we do about it? Right. And so to not absorb too much, I just have to remember my role. I'm just sitting, I'm holding the space, kind of like you guys here. You guys hold a space for these conversations. I do the same thing. And we just have different, actually we do have the same conversation. We just might go a little deeper, about people's issues. But I do watch, because sometimes I'll find myself feeling really sad, and I'm like, what is going on? It's like
getting too attached to the work.
I've listened to too much, and I need to balance it out by going and do something that feeds me. You know what I mean? And I have a therapist now, and this is the first time since maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
But and she's good, and she's not at all who I thought I was. I was looking for a black woman, mature black woman. She's about the opposite of that, but she's really good. She's God sent, and she helps me to process. You know what I mean? It is good. And they've always told us when we were in grad school, get a therapist. We had to have therapists through grad school. Okay. But but I had an older sister, and up until maybe about 10 years ago, you know what I mean? And I have very good friends, and we have very frank conversations. But the difference is, they know me and they see me a certain way, and even when I'm not that way anymore, they're still talking to me like, because they're talking out of history, whereas a therapist is looking at you like, okay, you just sat down, whatever you tell me, that's what we're going to work on, Yeah. So, but I exercise, I sometimes eat pretty good, try to balance my time with family and, friends and things like that, and do activities. I like to walk a lot. So I do, my self-care is more than getting my nails done. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So I trying to get back into meditating a little bit, but my mind's all over the place, which is what your mind does, you know what I mean? So, but just easing into it, because we need those quiet times, we need times to connect with spirit. Okay. So I'm just really connecting back with spirit these days, because I think for a while there I kind of got a little bit annoyed about the way life was going, and, it's like, I'm not doing that. And I don't really do traditional church like I did most of my life. So I'm learning to connect with spirit on my terms, and and get fed and things like that. So you have to take care of yourself, because I'm just a soldier. I can get shot too. I'm standing in the front line, but I have to back up sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you, for the listeners, break down the difference between depression and anxiety?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, they say there's a saying that if you look back and you dwell in the past, you will be depressed. And then if you look too far ahead, further than you can have the resources to figure out, you'll get anxious. You know what I mean? And I kind of believe that, that you got to kind of stay in the present moment.
I like hold on, that's just made a lot of sense. All right.
That's my thing. I'll be anxious. I'll be ready. I'll be like, yo, I'm talking about, it burns in me like I'm talking, it's serious. I'll be like, yo, I gotta.
Your what ifs are so bananas.
I'm trying to say, like, what can I do? I'll be moving. Like, it's so bad that I don't sleep.
And sometimes the reason you can't figure it out is because you just don't have the knowledge, the resources, you don't even have the perspective. Sometimes if you're going on a long walk, and there's one street where, you can look right or left, you know what I mean? But then there's another street where there's nothing over here. You can only look right. If you try to look left when there's nothing to see, you're not going to see anything. And you might think something's wrong. Right. But it's just that you didn't get to the point where you can see that yet. You know what I mean? So bringing yourself back to the current moment, because usually in the current moment we're fine,
Right.
you know, and that's what the whole mindfulness thing is about. You know, if you just kind of be present
in the moment.
right now, you know what I mean. But our minds, you know, they just do everything. They just jump all around and make up stories about, oh my God, what's going to happen, and So, but, you know, and we have so much information, you know, and the longer you live, the more you know that could go wrong. So then you have more that you could worry about, you know what I mean? But worry can become a habit too, you know? Mm-hmm.
And they say that that's what makes people sick.
Yeah.
You can be that's why you're sick and colds and all types of stuff from just worrying yourself. Worrying yourself to death.
Which is to me why the spiritual part is so important, because there are things that are out of our control, and you need some framework to cope with that. You know, when people sit down and they're telling me their story, everybody's got a story, you know what I mean? So they're telling me their story, and I'm trying to listen and waiting for some inspiration on how this is going to go, you know, and then I ask them, you know, so what do you believe? What do you think we're doing here? You know, what is this? Are you just like a coincidence? You know, are you just, you know, do you believe in something stronger than you, or what? And the people that don't believe anything bigger than themselves, I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You're going to need to talk to somebody different than me, because I don't know what to tell you if you don't have any beliefs in something spiritual, you know. But I can understand when people are trying to figure out what they believe, you know, so.
Do you think part of it is, because I look at the mind as like our body, you have to feed it something.
Yes.
So do you think a lot of that has to do with idle minds?
Yeah, or minds filled with junk. You know, like, you know how you and I will talk about music, and, you know, I'll be really focusing on the beat, but I don't really know what the words are. I can't even figure out what they're saying. But I like the music or anything. But just think about the kids that know what they're saying. What a lot of these songs are saying. They're being fed all of that, you know, and based on, I guess, how they're going to be on a lot of what comes in.
Yeah, it becomes a reality. Not realizing it's only entertainment.
It's entertainment, right.
So, like, do you think, not to go too deep.
You can go deep.
I like deep. So do you think, like, that as far as, like, our youth and, like, the juveniles and do you feel that is, because they don't have no, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, no sense of the importance of life, like because of, like you said, their mind is full of junk. So like I truly believe, 'cause I used to see some dudes like he has no cares, and it's scary that you actually can feel like, yo, he don't care about nothing. Like it's crazy. Like, and they adapt to different situations. And you're just like, dude, is that even real? So it's like it's. I look at that as a part of some type of mental illness, some type of, and it can be from how you grew up, like what you went through growing up, because you know some kids, like if you haven't never felt love, this a person that moms, I'm talking about no love, like I can just imagine how they are, because they haven't had that feeling growing up. Some of us have that feeling of hugging mom, loving mom, and you get that certain type of love. But I just be like, the people that haven't sense that love, like and how they are, you know.
So you were asking about the kids today. They did a study in the 90s, and they found out that there were certain risk factors. I think risk factors is the old term now, but there were certain things that when children experienced them over and over and over and over, or even once, you know, but when they experienced a certain number of those things, it really had a correlation to mental wellness. They had a correlation to behavioral problems. They had a correlation to physical problems and psychological problems, and that is trauma. And when they did the study, they identified things like parental mental health issues, parental addiction issues, parental neglect. What else did they? Domestic violence. There were a few other things, but they were saying that if you had 4 or more of these things in your lifetime, then you had this high probability of all these things happening to you. And so when I think about the kids that we're talking about now, that you know we look at, that we kind of like the kids that are acting horrible in school, or the kids that are just doing all kinds of things. First of all, the kids, they're immature, they get to make some mistakes, you know what I mean? But then if they've been through a lot of trauma and they haven't gotten any treatment for it, this really affects how they view the world, you know, how they perceive themselves,
authority.
Yeah, the authority, how they cope with it. And so a lot of the kids are trying to, not just kids, a lot of people, most people are trying to figure out how to soothe themselves, how to cope, how to numb themselves, how to just feel better, not feel bad. So I think when I look at kids, I look at a lot of the things that I'm worried about youth in terms of, well, what have they been through? What would make a person act like that? You know what I mean? Because a lot of things, that's not how we were born.
Right.
You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. So something must have happened to impact them. Now, sometimes the thing that happened is hereditary, I mean, there are certain things that run in families, like bipolar disorder, which we're finally talking about as a community. But that runs in families. But just because it's in your family doesn't mean you're going to have it to a huge degree, but you might have a little bit of the tendencies, maybe not enough to get a diagnosis, but enough that you gotta, pay attention to how you do it. What were you gonna say?
I wanted you to tell us what bipolar disorder is, because a lot of people diagnose themselves with that. So, I feel like that
I wasn't prepared for that question. How would I So, bipolar disorder is a dysregulation issue, I think, a deregulation issue, that your moods aren't stable, and in life things happen. There are gonna be things that naturally are depressing. Somebody dies,
right.
You lose something you wanted, you lose a job, you have a bill, you have a tough situation. Those things are depressing. That's not real unless it stays. That's not a big issue. That's normal. You're gonna have that. But if you are depressed and there's really nothing that you can put your finger on why, you can't say something happened.
Right.
You just don't have it, and it's not a spiritual issue. Or you're anxious, really anxious, and I'm not talking about the normal ebbs and flows of life. I'm talking about highs and lows. You know what I mean? So bipolar is a dysregulation issue. I think it's chemical myself, but people have all kinds of theories about what causes mental health issues. But I think in bipolar it's chemical. Just like I think addictions is a chemical based issue. It's like some people's bodies cannot handle the substance, whatever the substance is, and they get attached to it, and they use it. Whereas other people can do the same thing, and it just rolls off their back, right? And
I always think that they're addicted to something else. I think we all have some type of addiction. Either it can be learning, it can be all types of addiction. So I feel like that's part of our nature, and sometimes I think it's what people give over to sometimes.
I think people are trying to feel better. They're trying to feel better, and so some people. I have a friend that shops. I have another friend that eats. I have another friend that drinks. Another friend that smokes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like people do a lot of different things. I have friends that they're addicted to the power and position that they have.
Right.
And the attention and the accolades, and So I think people are trying to feel better, and sometimes we find unhealthy ways, it starts off it's not really a problem, but then you get too attached to it and you don't grow beyond it, then that could be a problem.
That's what happened with me with alcohol. It started off as social in college, fun times, we're having a good weekend. Then it went to maybe after work drink with my father. He owns a company, I work for him. So, and then I think around, I'm 32, so maybe like 8 years ago, that's when it started to take that step past anything social, anything stress
relief. Think about
relief.
what was going on in your life 8 years ago.
Bringing children into the world in a messy relationship.
Yep.
Me seeing that I wasn't going to graduate from college in the same manner I graduated in high school, like things like that. And then I had then the childhood stuff arises. I was fine when I got to high school. But in elementary school, I got bullied.
Did you?
Well, I don't like the word. See, back then we didn't call it bullying, but it was bully.
But it was bully. It.
Yeah, like I wore glasses, I had big ears, and I was chunkier than the rest of the kids. Now, the thing I learned I spent so much of my middle school and high school years learning how to navigate to not get picked on. Like to still have the grades right, but still play sports.
Sure.
Still find ways to dress decent enough. Like, you know what I mean? Still try to stay in the barbershop. Like, try to wish the in crowd to hang with so that the bullies don't mess with me because I'm with the cool kids now. I think that caught up to me after a while because that stressed me out. And I don't think anybody understood it. Now, I think it's different now to how kids handle bullying. I never wanted to shoot up a school. I never wanted to harm myself. It's one of the things where I internalized it because, especially in the black community, I'm half black, half Puerto Rican. So in the minority community, they tell you suck it up, pay your dues. Like not paying your dues, but like suck it up. It happens. You'll be all right. So, but that stressed me out, and it kind of resurfaced when I got older. It messed with my self-esteem and how I viewed myself.
Right, and not discrediting parents. Because I didn't get bullied, but there was no one to, I'm gonna say, talk to. I know, like, when things was going on, because like I was doing stuff, but I didn't get bullied. Not like that, but it wasn't like, you know, 12th graders, 9th graders, that type of stuff. But yeah,
my stuff was elementary.
I didn't, you know.
Did you tell anyone?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get to. I was gonna get to that part of
first grade. I got picked on because of some Payless sneakers my dad bought me. He realized, okay, gotta get you the Nikes now.
Right. So
but that was the first and last time I really. Now I spoke about it in my adult years. Cause like, how can I put it? Like I was like a late bloomer. Like I know I'm a handsome guy now. I know how to my upkeep and my yeah. But I still look at myself as that kid that got picked on. So is it? I guess it's self-esteem.
Sure.
And how I viewed myself. Like I never viewed myself as like, all right, I'm okay now. And then with the alcohol too, like I see why they call it a depressant. Because, you know, some people drink alcohol all the turn up. Oh, we're going to go party. For me, once that part faded away, that alcohol really became a depressant. Because I might have said, hey, I'm going to have a drink from a stressful day. Or just, hey, man, I worked hard today. I'm going to go have me a drink. And I knew I would always overdo it.
And to take you to that place.
What? Now it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the corner crying my eyes out, chain smoking Black and Milds about issues that are okay now. Like they're in the past. You've overcome them. Like it's bananas. So that's why I had to leave alcohol alone, because that's what that was doing to me. It wasn't fun anymore.
It is definitely a depressant, and so it numbs you out at first. You know, so it takes the edge off, and you don't feel as bad. But then as you try to stay in that zone, you keep drinking and drinking and drinking. Now, I happen to think, so that's why I ended up getting into counseling, because my family had addictions, a lot of addictions. They had mental health too, but we didn't talk about, they barely talked about the addictions. They darn sure weren't going to talk about the mental health, and they didn't know it. They didn't know what to talk about.
You fed your kids, like, you spoke into them about that type of stuff. And and that's what I was going to say. Like, I think that even with my kids, I don't feel that they would get bullied, because I say that to say it's something that you have to put in them. Like, it's a difference of someone picking on them and then you address it. You know, you try to address it, but their self-esteem, because you know it happens with kids. But I think that what we missed from like our dads, and I'm gonna speak on, like, I think if it was being reassured that this is how this is going to be. This is going to turn in this. This is who you are. This is what I love about you. This is what you say to your child. Like, I think that us as the parents are their number one lifter. Yeah. Yes. So like when you're missing that, I feel that, and you're just pushed out. It's like we're being pushed out in the world. You're being pushed into school. You're around kids that just are just nasty. Like, there's kids that was like, but I think that if we miss what we put in our kids, that when that stays that young, that it still bothered you when you were older. Like, you know, time moves on and you be like, oh, that was elementary. You won't do it now. Like, that type of attitude. But I think there's a saying that says that your father tells you who you are. Yeah. And that is so missing. Even when our fathers, sometimes they're present. I mean, think about our fathers in this country. Yes.
They have been struggling, most of them, you know, on their self-esteem, because you know, even like back to my father, he had to fight in a war where they were segregated. You know, they came back, they weren't treated the same before they left, they weren't treated the same when they came back. They were traumatized going to war, you know, then you come back to a country and realize how you're looked at, you know, that stuff in fact affected them all, you know what I mean? So I think that sometimes they weren't as present, even the ones that were present, they weren't as present emotionally, or they were trying to figure it out, and people were not talking about mental health things.
See, my dad,
I'm going to accept that.
Yeah, because I had to forgive my father. Like, I had to forgive my father, because one thing that I totally forgot, and he said it too, but I guess I don't want to call it being selfish. I just had to understand. My dad only saw his dad 3 to 5 times in his entire life.
Wow.
And then my dad's dad was a Muslim minister, a prominent Muslim minister from Coatesville, but had a following in Harrisburg. And he was assassinated when my dad was like 11, maybe younger. So to get to the point, it's like, my dad didn't 100% know how to be a father. So with me, he was figuring it out.
Yes.
So, and that's another thing too, where I would try to talk to him sometimes. I couldn't, because he's like, man, look, listen, y'all saw me go to work. I raised you in church. I helped put you.
And he did very good to do those things, you know.
So my emotional stuff, I couldn't take it out on him because my dad didn't give me the drug talk, the sex talk, none of that. But I saw it. So it's like, I used to get real angry about it. Now, me getting a little older now, I realize, okay, you need to do what your dad did as far as go to work, raise your family in the church, like, you know, have all that stuff. Now, what you miss from him, you already know what it feels like now, so apply it to your sons now. You know what I mean? But that's so much easier said than done. And like me, I realize what I have to do. The average person's not going to realize that. And there's so many people I grew up with where parents was a foreign word. You have parents. No, I got a mom and a grandma or a mom.
Exactly.
So it's like, and then like, I'm one generation, like basically where my father didn't have a father. I had a father. A lot of my counterparts, a lot of my friends, their dad didn't have a dad. They didn't have a dad. They're not being a dad. So it's like, you know, it's messed up, man. And this is why mental health is important, because that's where a lot of issues they stem from.
I think so.
Yeah.
They be like, they'll be okay. I was okay.
And that's not right. I almost did that to my oldest son. He was getting bullied at roll. I was like, oh, I got bullied too. Then I had to catch myself like, no, what happened to you? Don't give him that answer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
And I also think, I think bullying is never good, because especially for children, because they're working on their self-esteem. It's developing. So, you know, they're thinking they're fine, they're looking good, liking what they got on the day, and then they go to school, somebody say, you got a bump on your face, you know. And then all of a sudden you're self-conscious, and, you know, and if there's nobody there to, like you said, pour into them, then they're coming up with assumptions and assuming things that just aren't true. You know, maybe that kid that's bullying you just had a really horrible day.
yeah.
But I'm a little disappointed in the way schools work, because I didn't start working in schools until I was in my late 30s. Because I was a stay-at-home mom for many years. But then when I went to schools, I thought they would run better. You know, I really did. I really thought they would run better. They don't, even though they're counselors and all kinds of things, they don't handle discipline well. They don't tend to make sense to me. You know, you either throw the book at the kid or wait. You don't do anything until the kid totally messes up. Then you throw him out.
Kid burns the room down. That's what
then
you want.
Throw him out. It's like, okay, great. You know, and I do
Now you would
realize
discipline.
that I realize that parents and schools are sometimes adversaries. You know what I mean? That it's not always easy to be a parent dealing with the school system. You know, and it's not always easy to be a school system dealing with the parent. But we have to figure it out for the
You know,
children.
one thing that my children's mother, because I've my wife and I, we're kind of doing the blended family thing. She has a son and I have two. So my two, even though they're ours, you know what I mean? I don't like the word stepson, but now that the introduction's out the way. So the younger two, who are my two, their mother, and I'm not saying this to talk bad about her, but one thing she does that I cannot stand is, say when the baby, he's not a baby, when the 7-year-old, he cuts up. And, you know, you get one. If you have a couple of kids, you get one who is the pain in the butt. Like, when teachers call me, and they rather call me, I don't feel like you're lying about his behavior. I feel like there's a reason why you stopped in your busy day to tell me that he was cutting up. And let's figure out why he's cutting up. And don't worry, I'll punish him. You know what I mean? I will get on it, whether I got to make him right, whether I got to scold him, whether I got to strip him of video game privileges. I wish I could whoop his butt like I got whooped. Not abuse, but like a belt went a long way for me. One whop, I knew better. But today... Especially with it being a custody thing.
You do know why we are where we are with child abuse, right?
Because it went too far?
My parents were crazy. They literally, mentally, you know, I mean, they would I think they would start off disciplining, and it was somewhere along the way it would
take their whole bad day out on you.
Exactly. You know, and they could do it, and they could justify it and say, you know, spare the rod and spoil the child. I'm doing, but, you know, or you're beating a child when you're drunk. You know, it's like, that is not discipline. That's
around here. I don't play that.
But see, so let me finish real quick. So I'm the type. All right, let's address this. Let's handle it. I'll discipline him. Let me know if he cuts up. You have my direct line. Call me. Their mother is the type. Well, what did the other kid do, or what did you do? I know he's not wrong. You can't think like that, because then my son's going to be out here and he's going to be
they're smart. They figure out how to play
manipulating, and he won't fear authority. Not to fear authority, but you know what I mean. Like, he won't respect authority. Sure. He's going to feel like he can get out of any jam because his mom is there. Well, the police aren't playing that these days.
Not playing that.
You know, like, so it's like I wish the communication with my children's mother was a little bit better so I could tell her that, but it's rough. So I don't want to get into that, but it's like, you know, but so imagine that happens to my kid. I'm pretty sure that happens all over the school district, which is why things butt heads and you don't really get, everybody's not on the same page. Like you do have a small percentage of teachers who might be full of it. They don't care. They're from other areas. They're not of the same hue. They're just there for a paycheck. But then you have some teachers who do care, but the parents are, you know, just as bad as the kids when it comes to trying to find a resolution.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So that means everybody, man. That's where the generation, everybody in the house. But you can see, I always say, the kids are a reflection. I really see that. And
if you want to know why a child behaves a certain way, call the parents and you know, talk to them, and that'll give you a good idea. You know, and not all. I mean, certainly not that they're all bad, but we all make choices out of our experiences and our understandings.
You don't even be in bad. Like, it's just how you handle situations. Like there's stuff that how my dad is that I'll be like, I can't be like that. Like, I can't do that. I can't go through that. I feel that if it's something, and this is just me, I feel that if it's something that you really want to change, you're going to do everything in your power. Right? I don't know. I just feel that sometimes people, when we diagnose things, they make it an excuse and they say, you know what, I'm like this. This is why I do this. And then they don't want help from it. I just named how I am, and now everything I do, all my actions is based because I got this disorder. And people live like that, and then that becomes their how they maneuver, and then how they deal with you, the next person, because I done diagnosed myself, I'm bipolar. They don't have healthy relationships. The kids see mom switching boyfriends, going through that that confusion of, you know,
it's okay.
Life.
To have a revolving door of men and women.
And I always think, like, what could you be teaching your child if you can't get yourself together? But even us as adults, I feel that it's about mastering the mind. I think, because I have moments, and that's why I said having her training, having Miss Rosanne down there, like, it helps me. Like, I feel better. Even if I ain't talking about nothing serious, it can just be my goals. I don't got nobody to talk to. Instead of me just exploding about it, I run it past her. You know, and she just listens.
Remember, I asked you, who do you go to? Because I go to him.
And I go to him too.
And I asked him one time, I said, well, the people who are just a tad bit stronger than a lot of others, like, who do the stronger people go to? You know, so.
And I think, you know, I think we all have those areas where we're stronger and those areas where we could use a little support, you know. And so even just going to other people, you know, and just to hear you guys talking about this is amazing, because most young men were raised, you know, to not talk. You know, whereas girls, we've been talking all along. You know, we've been therapizing ourselves for years, but, you know, a lot of times guys don't talk about their feelings, and so it's really good that you guys are doing that now. And even this show, the people that are listening to it, you know, they may not be commenting, but they hear it. And it's normalizing talking about these feelings.
And that's all that matters to me. As long as you understand and it helps you in some type of way, I don't even have to know about it. Like, I feel that the job is done. Like, I want everyone to be better. Like, I've been there. Like, I went through depression. I went through thoughts of suicide, trying for suicide. I went through that. I'm talking about, I was angry. I used to be angry.
Me too.
Like,
especially when alcohol kicked in too. Now
I used to wake up and come outside looking for something to get into. Like, I used to just look for something, and that's why I take into consideration. I understand. When I hear things, I understand everyone, because I did some things that where I wouldn't be sitting here right now, but I caught that break, and it was like, I did it. Oh, why did I do that? I'm talking about just that quick. I'm talking about switch from like two different people. Like, you know, what the world was I just in? And it's like, okay, what's next? And then it just finds out that it's like, and then you come to that point where you're like, I can't be like this. It's a feeling in me when people push me to that point where I start to feel like that. I don't like that feeling. Like, it's the worst, because I could snap. Like, I snap like the best of my day. Like, listen, I know arguments. I know angry people. Like, I know them. They're still
like
angry
punch
to
a
this
hole
day.
in the wall.
Like, they've been angry since I've been a babe, like, coming up, and they're still angry. Like, so I know, like, I cannot be like that.
And, you know, sometimes anger is, I mean, if you think about how do you know if somebody's depressed, a lot of times you'll see anger.
And that's the main, to me, that when somebody's angry like that, they're depressed. They have nothing, it's like nothing. And I think the older you get, when you feel like, I think you come to a point like you said. And so even just imagine the 50-year-old, the 60-year-old is like, I didn't accomplish nothing. I didn't do nothing. Like, I feel that sometimes you have to make like you said, hold on to the moments, go through what you felt was good. There's some good in it. There's good in it. Every moment's not bad. And just try to hold on to that. But I can't.
I think also some people think that the way they feel is normal. Maybe it's their normal. You know what I mean? So,
that's scary.
Yeah, well, but if you stay with something long enough, you get used to it. You know what I mean? Wow. No matter what it is, you get a little bit more comfortable with it. You know? So if you've been angry your whole life and nobody cared and nothing changed it, you know, then you kind of think, well, that's the way it is, or that's the way I am.
Right.
You know, and
it is what it is. That's
how you see the old lady come, God, y'all stop, get out there. Exactly. All upset and just single and alone with all the
smile, sugar.
Yeah, I understand. It's a big thing because like my wife, she'll tell you she goes through, she don't mind, and trying to deal with things with her past and growing up and getting strong in that area, you know, and just you gotta fight. You gotta keep pressing. Sometimes I think that's all we can do. I think it's find solutions. Talk less, find solutions until you're talking to someone that is neutral, that is willing to hear you and just listen to you. I think I like you said, everybody should find someone or someone to talk to, because you gotta have that person that you can go to. I be needing set straight. Sometimes I don't even need an ear. I need somebody to be like, yo, that's dumb. Like, don't do that, or this is what's important to you. And just a reminder. And I'm thankful for that, because I can come to you, even through our conversations. When I conversate with you, I'm growing off of that. I have to eat my own words. I have to apply that. I told you all the time.
Because some of the stuff you told me to do, like, all right, I got to do it too. I got to be the example.
Yeah, so it's like, and it comes around, and it comes to try me and I appreciate that, because then that lets me know that anything I'm telling you to do, I have went through and I have came out. So I can tell you that, look, if you do it this way, it will work out. And I just want you to feel good. You gotta live and be in the moment.
See, and like the feel good part. Now, I don't think this is the healing part, or the part where, what's it called when you get healed? Like this, I feel like I kind of healed myself. There's a word I'm looking for. It's escaping me. But I feel like the moment I took my health serious.
I was about to say that. People don't understand. That's one of the.
I feel like I healed myself almost. As soon as I got rid of the alcohol, I started working out. And you put a dash of Jesus in there. Like, I feel like when I made those 3 changes, and then I started talking to you more, and then there's a minister at my church that my wife and I go to for marriage counseling, and I go to him for the alcohol counseling and just for life counseling. The moment I did that, now of course, it doesn't happen overnight, doesn't happen in a week, but now we're talking about, I'm like 2 months in for this and 2.5 months in for that. The depression, I feel like it's faded. The anxiety has faded. Do I still have my moments here and there? Yes, but I feel like I have tools now, or I feel like instead of running to a bottle or a happy hour when I'm pissed off, hey man, go get a workout or pray, or go call this person, or go do your research, crack a book, or go look at a scholarly journal article or whatever online. Like, I feel like we have to find those tools, and we have to take care of our physical health and things like that, because some of this stuff we can get over it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Some of this stuff we can get over. Some of the stuff you might need medicine. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that stuff, but like, try a workout regimen and a healthy diet before you go run the Zoloft.
And that is really one of the first things we tell people, but you got to be willing to do it. And sometimes, if you're really depressed, you don't have the energy. Depression zaps your energy.
Yeah.
That's why people tend to stay, and don't get much accomplished and not do anything about it.
My dad and brother thought I was lazy for years. I'm like, I'm up. I just don't want to get out of bed. It's not that I don't want to work. I want to make a living. I want to be a part of this company, but I wake up feeling like F the world. Like I don't have a care, So, but now it's like, I got the drive in me. But I went through that for years. Oh, he's lazy. He don't want to wake up, man. If you only knew how I feel. And my brother and my father were ones who never wanted to even understand mental health. You know, when I told my brother, like, I was in a bad car accident. So for a while, driving up and down the highway to job sites, I had to hit a job site in Chambersburg going on for a year. There's some days they don't even know I'm driving down the highway like this.
Oh.
And then when I tell them about it, they'd be like, "Oh, suck it up!" Like I really had like this is scary for me.
Yeah, they should. God, man, I would want to know if I'm in the car with you. I can know.
Like I'm cool now, but like yeah, I would really go stand. No, I'd stay. No, what I do is I'll stay in the far right lane, and I'm going to.
Oh yeah, nah, I don't know. As soon as I see him, I'm like, bro, you okay? I'm gonna need you to pull this thing over. And
but that's a perfect example of PTSD. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, you know, you might not claim it or anything, but that reaction to, oh wait a minute, this reminds me of when, and now it's affecting me physically. You know.
Right.
Yep.
So I got let's do 3 or maybe 4. Let's just see how it goes. So I'm gonna ask you a word, and I'm gonna need you to tell me what it means to you. I feel it's in the mental health field. It's important. All the words on this list is important. This is my list of words that I read over and just to put in my mind, and I ask myself, what does it mean to me? The first one, I'm going to use common sense. Common sense.
I want to say to know right from wrong, but sometimes it's so much deeper than that.
Common sense.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I can say right from wrong, but it's deeper than that to me, and I can't explain it for time's sake.
Go ahead, I'm here. You got a couple minutes.
Cause like, okay, real quick. My son, my wife did this one time before too. They overstuffed the washer. And the clothes came out, some smell good, some still stink. Common sense says don't overload the washer. It's just an example of, you know what I mean? Like, cause it can be right from wrong, like on a legal standpoint or like rules, but it can be right from wrong and like even something as simple as that. Like, but that's what it means to me. Like to know, like, you know what I mean?
The balance of what wouldn't work.
Yeah. There you go. See, bam. All right, yeah.
Oh, me? When you said common sense, I thought about that saying that says common sense isn't so common. You know? And, I mean, it's helpful to have common sense. It's helpful to have that discernment about, you know, what's a good bet and what's not a good bet. And just like whether this, you know, that's when you think about loading the washing machine, that's a spatial. That's a space, and everybody's not good at that. You know,
Right.
some people are better at deciding, well, this much could fit in there.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like the game when the little kids are putting the blocks in the little in the shapes. And, you know, everybody doesn't have that. You know,
Right.
so when you think about common sense, apparently everyone doesn't have the same perceptions of situations, of the risk factors, of the possibilities, and so. You know, where, you know, everybody doesn't have the same intelligence, you know, really. And we try to act like that's not so, but you can look around and see everybody doesn't have the same intelligence, you know. So.
I respect that. I take that into consideration to understand, because that is a difference with common sense. Because everybody, I look at it, it's different. Common sense and certain knowledges of things are different. Because somebody will automatically think that something that my wife might be blind to in the streets, I don't take that as it should be common sense, because that's something you shouldn't even, that is
Shouldn't even have to experience.
Yeah, so that to me, you know, sometimes common sense does get lost in that, you know, there's different fields for it, but like something like the washer, it like she said, it goes both ways, because somebody might not be good with space. But yeah, if you do it more than once,
Then that's a different issue, right?
Yeah, that's totally different. Let's go with ownership. Ownership.
Where you went wrong and humbly apologizing about it.
Ownership. Own up.
Oh, I like that ownership.
Is it
on
easy
that.
for own up? Is it easy?
Oh.
Does ownership feel good in the sense of owning up to something? So that's not easy task. Ownership.
I was going along the line of taking responsibility. But in order to take responsibility, you kind of have to first be aware, you know. And if you're just not aware if you don't see yourself, and I think sometimes we're so busy doing things that we don't even know how we look to other people. And it's not even the other people that are important. How are we looking to ourselves? How are we taking care of ourselves? How are we showing up for ourselves? But I think that in order to own, you got to be aware.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Have to own up to it. Boom, 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 boom. This will be the third one. Let's go with developing people. We let you start.
Oh my, developing people.
What would be a way that you can? Let me put it in a sentence, kind of like something like that, like a way that you would, if you don't mind, like some of the tools that you would put into developing.
Mm-hmm. I think probably one of the first things I would do is teach people how to be a little bit kinder to themselves, because this being a human is hard for all of us, whether we're showing it or not. So, and most of us have some really stinky self-talk that goes on in our head that makes everything harder. So I think I try to support people in just being a little bit kinder to themselves and understanding. And a lot of times we don't share certain things because we're ashamed, and therefore we can't get help, so we stay in our own thinking. You know what I mean? We don't talk about it, so it's like we just keep struggling in the same space, as opposed to. So one of the ways that I help people is to just kind of normalize this human experience. Most of my clients are not the extremes in mental health, but that's not really my comfort zone. You know what I mean? Right. But I have a lot of people with some major diagnoses as well that interfere with how they function. So I just try to help them to get to a place where they can problem solve. Like sometimes it is medicine. None of us like medicine, but sometimes it's a medical thing. Sometimes it's a spiritual thing. Sometimes it's a physical thing. Sometimes you're making dumb decisions that are complicating your life, and you just keep doing it. So I try to make a safe space for people to kind of see where they are and accept where they are.
So it's like you don't look for an ending with it. You just, how can I say it? Like, you don't look for someone to say at a certain point that you think, okay, they shouldn't have to come to me no more, or they shouldn't just have to come to you for that problem, right? Like, how is that? Like, because you think, like, some people, I think, like, I'm gonna use fitness for a second. Like, I could teach a person to the point where I say, they say, you know what, my schedule this, and I can't come. I feel that you've been with me a year and a half.
You should be okay to go flourish in your own gym.
Yes, you should be able to do what it takes to stay on point. And I know they don't stay on point with that, so it's like ongoing, because some people it's like
they need accountability.
It's like restarting them. Yeah. How's that for you?
Well, it depends on really what they came for. A lot of times people will come to therapy because something's not working. So when they start feeling better, whether I try to give people tools. So when they start feeling better, they may not need the same support. Just like a child growing, your 2-year-old does not need the same. Your 4-year-old doesn't need the same thing your 2-year-old needs. You know what I mean? And so as you give people tools, they can do more for themselves. So I do try to teach tools, to help that they can use, and also self-awareness, so they'll know when, okay, wait a minute, this is just beyond what I can do by myself, or no, I've got this. So a lot of my clients will come and go. They'll come in with a specific situation. A lot of my clients are depressed and anxious because of the stuff that people that they're in relationship with are doing. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to really look at the reality of what relationships you're in. Some things are just not going to get better. You know what I mean? So and many people are in relationships with people that do have serious mental health issues that they aren't addressing. So it's like, okay, at some point, what do you do? Some people you can cut loose, and some people you can't cut loose. You can't cut your children loose to a point. But yeah, I do try to give them tools, and they kind of come and go. They'll get through a certain problem, maybe slow up coming, and then if something comes up, they might come back 8 months later or something like that, or never.
Well, we're coming up on time. See, I told you it goes fast.
It did. I'm shocked.
You can tell you want to give a little information where people can find you, or if they want to look for you.
So the name of my company is called Imago Life Counseling, Imago Life Counseling, and I have an assistant now, Kristen.
Okay. Yes.
And you can reach her via 717-474. I said she don't know the number, Brent.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't call it.
I'll definitely put it all in the bio.
Okay, but anyway, and they can come to my website and reach me that way as well.
Take your mental health serious, people.
All right, what you got going on, brother?
Oh, next Friday, or this Friday, well, I guess, when this airs, this Friday, I'm in West Virginia. Got a show with Tarek Higgins. Go to my Facebook page, Jeff Stanton. The flyer should be there. If you want to make it, you know, cool. I know some of y'all, never mind. Some of y'all in Harrisburg, if I tell you the show was 5 minutes away, wouldn't come. But anyway, I'm in West Virginia this week, getting it on, getting the laughs rolling. And I just got booked for a show in York, July 13th by D. Will. So details will be coming soon. But that's what I got going on.
So we thank everyone for listening. Y'all know where to find me at. We thank everyone for listening and tuning in. We thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Thank you for
you.
having
This
me.
was very
I
important.
enjoyed talking to both of you as well.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
reach
sir.
out, and if you need help, get help.
Yes.
All right.
Don't be ashamed.
Peace. We made it.